Good evening. It's always tough to be the first to do something. It's awesome that we're here at Blair High School at the first TED Talk. Not sure why they asked me to talk, but so if I do terrible, you can talk to Mr. Haig. No, I'm back home. My career really started here in the gang intervention and prevention work. And I'll get into that in a second. Just a little bit of background about myself. Was raised in Washington, D.C., Northwest, up until the age of 12. Single family home. For the most part, the streets really raised me from the age of 5 to 12 years old. And I don't say that bragging. I think that my mom did her best that she could to provide, and my best friends in the district were my leaders, my mentors. So saying that, I was able to learn how to navigate the worlds of being at home, coming from a Central American family. My mom from El Salvador. She was part of that first wave that initially came over in the late 60s and early 70s. And navigating that world between home, the streets, was a plan. I didn't understand it initially, but as I got older, I began to see it. At about the age of 20, I hadn't seen my uncle in a very long time, and we were at a party, and he saw me, and he looked at me, and he said, "Man, you're still alive. I thought you would be dead by now." And it really hit me, because at that point, I really began to reflect on my life and where I'd come from. And he began to tell me some of the stories that he remembered about me and my brothers, my older brothers, and how we kind of ran the streets as little kids and this, that, and the other, and it just really began to resonate. Fast forward, as I was in the Marine Corps, getting out of the Marine Corps, I moved to Columbia, South Carolina, to go to the University of South Carolina in Columbia. At that time, that seed was planted in me to really give back. I went into middle school in the underserved part of Columbia, South Carolina. The name of the school is Denton Middle School. Large Latino population. Started a mentoring program. Didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I just wanted to give back, and was able to build relationships with 7th graders and 8th graders, and really began to do some good work. This is the year about 1998. Fast forward. Working for the Washington Wizards, I get fired. Thank Michael Jordan for that. He came back out of retirement, and I was let go from that position. Lo and behold, I wind up looking for a job, just trying to provide ends meet for my family and myself. So I become a security assistant for MCPS. It's not something I studied. It's actually somebody I knew and said, "Hey, why don't you come do this until you find, what your career." I was like, "Hey, cool, let's do it." Started my career in MCPS at Silver Spring International Middle School. Who's from Silver Spring International Middle School? Ooh. Amazing. And from there, I came to Blair High School. Started working as a security assistant here. Now, this is in the heart of what I call the gang major issues here in this area. I was, quote unquote, the gang coordinator for the security team here at Blair High School. Knew all the young men, all the young ladies. What was neat about it is that I connected with an ESOL teacher who had a passion for young people. Like myself, we began to do an indoor soccer program. We had literally, I'm not kidding you, here at Blair High School, 125 students coming to our indoor soccer program on a daily basis. I discovered something. I discovered that students loved soccer. What was neat about this is we had magnet students. Who's magnet students here? All right, be a shout out magnet students. We had ESOL students playing together in this indoor soccer program. And the games were phenomenal. They were incredible. It was fascinating to watch, to be a part of. Developing relationships with young people, developing relationships with quote-unquote gang members. Getting to know them, getting to know their families, getting to know their moms. And I made a connection. Well, you guys know what that connection was? They were like me. They were growing up like me. Their mom was working really hard. The streets were raising them. They were navigating two worlds, from trying to grow up in a Central American home, when you go home and you're speaking Spanish, or then when you come out here, you're speaking English and trying to figure this thing out over here, and you're going back and forth. And that's pretty complex, believe it or not. You have to be pretty talented to do that. And I can tell you that some of the young men that I came across, thankfully, are now doing really, really well. Really well. Fast forward now, what I'm doing now. Now I'm a team leader for a gang intervention prevention program. I'm a part of a team of some awesome, caring people. People say to me, and they say to our staff, hey, so what are you doing about this gang problem that Montgomery County has? My response to them is that Montgomery County doesn't have a gang problem. Our country doesn't have a gang problem. Our region doesn't have a gang problem. Our state doesn't have a gang problem. What are you talking about? We're seeing young ladies get kidnapped. We're seeing the young lady found murdered in Virginia. There's an issue. Let me share with you guys tonight. What's the issue? Unfortunately, our issue is we have a family issue. Let me say that again to you guys. We have a family issue. And it's not only happening in the Latino community, it's also happening in the African American community. It's also happening in the Caucasian community. It's also happening across the races, the ethnicities. There's a family issue. Parents, man, I'm probably one of them, working really hard to try to provide the best that we possibly can for our children. I pray every day that I don't miss it with my children. Making the sacrifices that are needed so our kids can be in a place where they're doing well. And I'm sure many of you are in that same boat. But the reality is this: we miss it. We're missing it. This school here, for example, we're talking about, I think probably right now, 2,500 to 2,800 students here, roundabout. Am I correct in saying that? 3,000 now? Wow. That's what it was when I was working here. You know, you walk the halls and you see the segregation. Magnet students over here. ESOL students over here. Other students over here. And we see this issue of separation. Man, let me ask you this question. What would it be like, and I'm not sure if this is happening, but let's just give the example here, hypothetically speaking. What would it be like if we took magnet students that are really smart, right? Magnet students are pretty smart. That's what I've heard. Is that true? No? What would it be like if we took students who, man, were pretty good at English and they began to tutor ESOL students on how to speak and read English? Man, think about that bridge that would be built there. Think about the relationships that would happen. Rewind. We were playing soccer in this gym right behind us here. 125 students there. Sometimes it was even bigger. One time the administration let us use the big gym, and we brought the bleachers out, and the bleachers were packed. Kids came in there with flags from their countries. Other kids came in with a U.S. flag. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And I just sat back and watched. And all we did was we gave people the opportunity. And relationships were built. Students that would never be a part of the soccer team here at the school, man, established relationships with some guys that would give them the information on how to try out. How about going to get into physical and being in a position to make the team? Because they had the skills, they just didn't know the process. The process. When you don't know the process, you're left out. When you're left out, there's someone there to pick you up. People say to me, do you tell students to get out of the gang? I would never tell a young man or a young woman to get out of the gang. What are you talking about? Let me just ask you guys a question. I'm not sure how much time I got. Just give me 5 characteristics of a healthy family. Name them, please. Love. Trust. Give me another one. Respect. Communication. Support. Let's stop there. We could keep going. These are all qualities that a gang gives young people. You guys realize that? So if I was to say to a young man or a young woman, hey, you need to get out the gang, I'm telling them, you need to leave your family. I would never do that. I would never tell you, hey, you know what, sir? You need to leave your wife and your kids and come hang out with me. But what can I do? What can I do? I can give you opportunity. I can give you an opportunity to expand your horizon. What do I mean by that? Man, I can take you canoeing. Man, you go down the Potomac River. I don't know if you guys know this, but one of the most fascinating rivers in the entire country, and it's 20 minutes from here. And it will change a kid's life. I can offer you an internship with a company that will say, you know what? True story. Man, we really like you. In fact, we're going to pay for your college. And we're going to give you a job after you graduate. I won't mention the kid's name. I get a call on graduation day for Blair. Got a minute left. I got to tell the story real quick. Kid calls me up, bawling, crying. Known gang member. I mean, he's crying. I'm thinking, oh, man, somebody got killed. Something's wrong. I mean, he's bawling. And I'm like, hey, what's wrong, man? And he couldn't talk literally for about a minute. And he said, I just want to thank you. I said, what are you talking about? He said, the kid, we had gotten him an internship with a company, a software company. The company hired him starting at $15 an hour. First thing he said to me, I'm making more than both my mom and my dad now. He said, not only that, Mr. Segura, check this out. They're going to pay for my college. This kid now, right now, today, is the manager over the company's federal contracts, making more money than me. And I'm thankful for that. I really am. Because it's all about the opportunity. It's all about the opportunity. Be the one to build a bridge. You never know the opportunity that will come from it. Thank you, guys.